Hello, everybody, and welcome to our art project for the day. We are going to create a 4 seasons tree, and we are going to get started with our materials. We need paper, preferably with no lines on it. We need a pencil and a straight edge. It can be a ruler or it can be a book. You will eventually need some coloring tools as well. All right, to get started with this project, we are going to make it extra fancy this time. We are going to make a white border along the outside edge. If you're using a ruler, this is easier because you can use the outside of the ruler lined up with the edge of the paper and then make your line with the inside edge of the ruler, just like this. Right, and for our tree, we're going to make sure to kind of come up in the middle of our frame so that once we put the different sections on the paper for the fall and winter and spring and summer, we have some tree in each part. Next, we're going to do the dividing. There's a couple of different ways we can do that. For this one, we are going to fold the paper hamburger style once, then hot dog style, and now we have 2 lines that we can follow with our straight edge. We have been talking about inference and symbols and representation for quite some time now. So when you're doing your winter section of your picture, think about what symbolizes winter to you. Maybe it's a snow-covered branch. Maybe it's a snowman. This class loves snowmen. Maybe it's a little bit of snow on the ground. What says winter to you? Remember, when you're drawing your winter season, you're not going to go outside of the winter quarter of the picture. Once you've got the snow finished on your branches, you can move to the next season. So after winter, we have spring. And spring, if we think about spring, spring is a time of regrowth and new buds, like little flowers on trees and on plants. It's a time we see nests and we see baby birds. And so it's up to you how you add objects to each one of these quarters. Just remember, each section needs to have at least one object to give a representation for that season. And after spring, with all of our pretty flowers, we can also start thinking about what kind of colors we're going to use. Now, after spring, we've got summer. What symbolizes summer for you? Maybe it's a big sun. Maybe it's a kite flying. Maybe it's a tree with all of its leaves on it, all grown in, ready for the middle of the summer. And finally, we have the fall or the autumn. And the leaves have fallen off the tree, making big piles on the ground. When we go to color this section, we're going to go from using green from the summer into the browns and yellows and reds of the fall. And we're gonna think, what can we add to this section that makes you think of fall? Maybe it's harvest time, and so a pumpkin would be very representative of fall. There we have it, folks. Now we're going to take a moment to color our picture. So one of the things to think about before we start coloring our picture is the background. For each time of year, the sky looks a little different. So think about what kind of colors you would see, for example, in the winter. Maybe it's more of an icy blue. In the spring, we don't have to be limited to blue. It can be a bright green to the sky from all the reflections of all the new life. The summer can be a bright, deep blue, and the winter or the fall can be more of an orange or a yellow. Do your best to find a color that represents each season. Now that we've got that finished, we are going to color the winter scene. However, we are using white paper and snow is white, so we're really going to highlight more than color in. Be very careful as you go, making sure that you are careful of the details. Now, once we've got our white outlines, we can take a nice light color and highlight the snow to make it pop off the page and to give it some texture. And we know all about texture. Careful not to highlight too much, so you got lots of white left. Just like that. Make sure to pick nice bright colors that really show the season. Once you've finished outlining and coloring your picture, remember to outline our frame. Now, one really good trick, if you're using a ruler, is to turn the ruler upside down. That way, when you are making your line and then you move the ruler, you won't get your line smudged because there's a space between the edge of the ruler and the paper. And there we have it, folks, our 4 seasons tree. Remember, you are going to include all 4 seasons in your drawing, and you are going to make sure that you have colored your work to represent each season, that you have included at least one object or feature for each season. For example, snow for winter or flowers for spring, that you've given your artwork a title, and that your coloring has been done with care and attention.